Hi, Kevin here with WaterMonster, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up the Mini Manifold kit. Now, this kit was designed to greatly improve the output and the utility of the common water cooler. So let's get started. The Mini Manifold was designed specifically to work with our high-speed ultra spout dispensers and our touch-free foot pedals. Now, on our product page, we offer both the Mini Manifold kit and the Mini Manifold. So for those customers who already own ultra spouts and foot pedals, you just want to purchase the manifold by itself. But for those who don't, you want to purchase the Mini Manifold kit, which will come with 5 ultra spouts and 5 foot pedals, and those will ship separately. Either way, this instructional video is going to demonstrate how to set all this up. So here we go. When you receive your Mini Manifold, it's going to include a bag of fittings, 2 manifold halves, and 2 extender pieces. When you open your parts bag, you're going to find 3 pre-assembled ball valves for your water coolers, 5 spacers and female quick connects for your ultra spouts, and 2 caps and 2 plugs to shut off any unwanted water outlets, and a roll of Teflon tape. Before you install the ball valve on your cooler, you're going to need to remove the factory nut and rubber gasket off of the ultra spout. You're going to need these 2 parts when you go to assemble the ball valve in the cooler. To begin, first remove the factory spigot off of your water cooler. Be sure and save the hardware because you may need it. I want to point out before we get started, of the hundreds of water coolers on the market, most of them have the correct outlet size for our ball valve to fit in. But there's a few coolers out there of which the opening is smaller. If that's the case, we do offer a 7/8 drill bit that will allow you to simply bore out that hole so that the ball valve will fit correctly there. Now take one of the prepped ball valves, remove one of the gaskets, and simply insert it into your cooler. Now take your factory gasket and the provided rubber gasket, and then take the ultra spout nut. Now you'll notice the nut here where there's a little bit of spacing in there, and on this side it's all thread. So you may orient it this direction or you may orient it this direction, but all 3 of these are going to get assembled inside the cooler. So I want to take a moment and really talk about this ball valve, and particularly the gasket orientation and the importance of saving your factory gasket. Because there's hundreds of different coolers on the market, you may find that you have to double stack these, rearrange them different ways, flip the nut around to get a good tight seal so that your cooler doesn't leak. It's very important, and it may take a little bit of experimenting, but there will be a right orientation to work for your cooler. To prepare the ultra spout for the Mini Manifold, take the provided spacer, insert it, take your Teflon tape, wrap it around the threads, and take the female cam lock fitting and screw it on. Once complete, it should look like this. And notice how the locking arms are in position. That's very important. Now repeat this on all 5 of your ultra spouts. Now before setting up the manifold, please note that the manifold out of the box is designed to set up on a 6-foot table. If you're using an 8-foot table, you're going to unscrew the end right here and replace it with one of our extenders, which I'll display in just a moment here. So as we get ready to connect the 2 halves of the manifold, I want you to pay special attention noticing that the male quick connect fittings should always be on the outside of the table. And that would leave the female fittings facing the cooler. Now go ahead and connect the manifold with a union fitting screwed on snug, and make sure that everything is pointed right, and there you go. Now we're going to install all 5 ultra spouts onto the Mini Manifold. So take your ultra spout, and I want you to hold the locking arms in this position. So you're going to take the female quick connect, insert it to the male quick connect, and then you're going to pull these locking arms down. So let's try it. It's inserted, push it down, and now it's locked into place. And go ahead and repeat that on the remaining 4 outlets. With all 5 ultra spouts in place, make sure the manifold is set up such that the ultra spouts are touching right on the table, so it's all squared off and flush. We're now going to connect the 3 coolers to the Mini Manifold. We've already filled our coolers and all of the ball valves are shut off, so water's not leaking. And now we're simply going to connect the female end of the quick connect to the male on all 3 of them. So let's go ahead and do that. To connect the cooler, simply open the locking arms on the female quick connect and take the cooler, slide it forward, insert, and then simply pull back the locking arms. And this is what it looks like when it's complete. And do that for all 3 coolers. All right, we're all connected and set up. So now we're gonna turn the ball valves on and let the water flow through the mini manifold, and we're gonna purge out the air. So the way we do that is you're gonna go ahead and open up each of these ball valves, let the water flow. These red ball valves should stay in this position for now. And now we're gonna go ahead and purge out any air pockets. So go ahead and press each one of the ultra spouts and get the air out. And there, see, it's a steady stream now, and all the air bubbles are out. So now you're ready to hydrate. Let's talk a little bit about some of the features of the mini manifold and some of the advantages that it brings to the common 5-gallon cooler. For example, these 2 red ball valves we haven't really talked about. The purpose of these ball valves is you have the ability to turn this valve off, and that will isolate this cooler from these other 2 coolers. And what that allows you to do is if you want to have, say, for example, water in this jug that will flow through these 2, you could have different drinks, say Gatorade or whatever you want in these others, and it will separate them. So that's one nice feature. The other thing that it allows you to do is when you turn this valve off, you can now, of course, this is already off, you can turn this off, and this will allow you to physically remove that cooler. And if this cooler is empty, you can go refill it, and this will allow the other 2 coolers to continue dispensing water. Now, another feature here is we have these plugs. So these plugs that came in your bag will insert right in here. And when you put the plug in there and cap it off, let's say, for example, you were only using 2 coolers and you were never going to use 3. This allows you to function off of 2 coolers and all 5, well, let me open this back up, and all 5 dispensers are still working. You could even take off this cooler over here and put the plug in it, and now you can have just 1 cooler running off of or servicing 5 dispensers. Another feature that was in your bag are these caps. So the purpose of these caps, let's say, for example, you did not want to use 5 ultra spouts. You could take off this end cap, for example. You just pop it off, and then you would take this cap and stick it on and pull the arms back. And now that dispenser is capped off, and now you're running on 4. So those are just a couple of little features right there that make the mini manifold very unique. Finally, I want to come back to, I mentioned that the mini manifold out of the box is designed for a 6-foot table, but you have these 2 extenders. So the original end looked like this, and we unscrewed it and we screwed in this extender, and this allows, and you do this of course on both sides of the table, and this allows you to configure to an 8-foot table, and then you would simply connect your ultra spout like so. The 8-foot table would extend right here on both ends. And again, so it works on both the 6 and 8-foot table. Another thing to mention is, we talked about these caps earlier, and you may have wondered, what are these little clips on all the locking arms of these cam locks? And what these clips are, it allows you to take things like the plug to slip on there so it kind of locks in place and it stays with it. The same thing with the cap. You can take the cap and clip it onto one of the arms here so it kind of stays with it. That way it just keeps you from losing them. Now that your water station has been greatly improved, the final icing on the cake is to add the foot pedal to make it 100% touch-free. So we've already got this foot pedal set up, and all you do is take your foot, press it, and water dispenses. I don't have a cup here, but you have a little adjustment right here. You can press this mechanism up and down to adjust the rope height, and there is a little wire, and you can see how it wraps around and goes around the back of the ultra spout. But again, you can adjust this however high you need to, but that's how you go 100% touch-free with your standard water coolers. So when your event's over and it's time to tear down the water station, let me show you how easy it is to disassemble. So first, turn off all 3 ball valves and purge the water out of the lines, and then you can disconnect, Push the coolers back and disassemble each of the ultra spouts. Then unscrew the manifold. You can put the ultra spouts in the dishwasher like that. And that's it, guys. It's completely disassembled and ready to go for the next event. Well, that's a wrap. I hope this video was helpful, and I really hope the Mini Manifold can bring a whole new level of efficiency to your next water aid station. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to call me directly. Thanks.